Hello and welcome to the Annual Meeting of Stockholders of SoundThinking Incorporated. Please note that today's meeting is being recorded. You may submit questions or comments at any time by clicking on the Q&A icon. It is now my pleasure to turn today's meeting over to Deborah Grant, our Chair of the Board. Ms. Grant, the floor is yours.
Good morning. My name is Deborah Grant, and I'm the Chair of the Board of Directors of SoundThinking Incorporated. I'm happy to welcome you to the SoundThinking 2026 Annual Stockholders Meeting. As you know, we are hosting our annual meeting through a virtual online platform hosted by ComputerShare, and this meeting is being recorded. Before I call this meeting to order, I'd like to introduce you to the other members of the SoundThinking Board who are with us today. Ralph A. Clark, William J. Bratton, Burton Goldfield, Roberta Jacobson, Mark Morial, and Ruby Sharma. Also present at today's meeting are representatives of Baker Tilly U.S., LLP, the company's independent registered public accounting firm, Cooley, LLP, the company's outside legal counsel, and ComputerShare Trust Company, the inspection of elections for this meeting. In order to provide for the orderly conduct of this annual meeting, we intend to conduct this meeting in accordance with the rules of conduct available for your review by clicking on the Documents link near the top right of the webcast portal. The meeting will now officially come to order. We will proceed with the formal business of the meeting as set forth in your notice of annual meeting and proxy statement. We will respond to appropriate questions about the proposals being voted on today after all of the proposals have been presented as time permits. Mr. Stewart, as Secretary of the meeting, will you please report on the mailing of the notice of the meeting and the stockholders list?
I have an affidavit certifying that on or about April 22nd, 2026, a notice of annual meeting of stockholders of the company was deposited in the United States mail to stockholders of record at the close of business on April 9th, 2026.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Jennifer Upheld, a representative of ComputerShare Trust Company, North America, who is present virtually. I am appointing Ms. Upheld to act as Inspector of Elections at this meeting. Ms. Upheld has taken and subscribed the customary oath of office to execute her duties with strict impartiality. We will file this oath with the records of the meeting. Her function is to decide upon the qualification of voters, accept their votes, and, when balloting on all matters is completed, to tally the final votes. Will the Secretary please report at this time with respect to the existence of a quorum?
On the record date of April 9th, 2026, there were 12,953,937 shares of common stock outstanding and entitled to vote at this meeting. I have been informed by the Inspector of Election that the proxies have been received for a majority of the outstanding voting power of all shares of common stock entitled to vote at this meeting. This constitutes a quorum for the meeting today, and we may now carry out the official business of the meeting.
We will now proceed with the formal business of this meeting. Will the Secretary please open the polls for voting?
The time is now 9:04 Pacific Time on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026, and the polls are now open for voting on all matters to be presented. There are 3 proposals to be considered by the stockholders at this meeting.
The first item of business is the election of 3 Class 3 directors to serve until the 2029 annual meeting and until their successors are elected, or sooner, until the director's death, resignation, or removal. The nominees for Class 3 director are Ralph A. Clark, Mark Morial, and Ruby Sharma. The second item of business today is the advisory vote on the executive compensation of the company's named executive officers, as described in the proxy statement. The third item of business today is the ratification of the appointment by the Audit Committee of the Board of Baker Tilly U.S., LLP, as the independent registered public accounting firm of the company for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026. That was the final proposal for today's meeting. I will now address any questions that were properly submitted by our stockholders that are germane to this meeting. Please note that our discussion today may include forward-looking statements, and our actual results may differ materially from those discussed here. Additional information concerning factors that could cause such a difference can be found in our most recently filed annual report on Form 10-K. Are there any questions on any of the proposals? There are no questions. The Secretary will now describe the voting procedures.
Voting today is by proxy and electronic ballot. Each share of common stock is entitled to one vote. Any stockholder who has not voted who wishes to change his or her vote may do so by clicking on the Cast Your Vote link located on the left-hand center of the webcast portal and following the instructions provided. Stockholders who have submitted proxies or have previously voted via the internet or by phone and who do not wish to change their vote do not need to take further action. Their votes will be counted automatically. If you wish to vote your shares online, please do so now. The polls will be closing shortly. The Inspector of Election will not accept any votes once the polls close. The time is now 9:10 a.m. Pacific Time, and the polls are now closed for voting.
May we have the results of the voting?
The report of the Inspector of Election covering the proposals presented at this meeting is as follows. The proposal to elect Ralph A. Clark, Mark Morial, and Ruby Sharma as Class 3 directors of the company is carried. The resolution concerning the advisory vote on the executive compensation of the company's named executive officers is approved. The appointment of Baker Tilly US LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026 is ratified.
We expect to report the final voting results of today's meeting on a current report on Form 8-K to be filed with the SEC within 4 business days after the end of this meeting. This concludes the formal portion of today's meeting, and the annual meeting is now adjourned. Thank you again for your attendance at today's meeting and for your continued support of Sound Thinking.
This concludes the meeting. You may now disconnect. Have a pleasant day.